Good morning. My name is Marilyn Hallett, and I run You've Earned It, the digital media platform for South African 60 pluses. And we welcome you to the fourth episode in the Retiree Reflections video series. And firstly, we'd like to give a very big thanks to the sponsors, Just SA. Thank you, Just. Over time, we've found that there is one critical factor amongst others that is so important for one's mental and physical health in retirement. And that factor is purpose. And finding that purpose in retirement is an essential ingredient to a very fulfilling retirement. And our guest today is someone who has found his purpose in retirement in absolute spades. He is a microbiologist with a background in biomedical sciences. He has been involved in commerce and in industry and in international government relations over 4 continents. He is a sailor. He is a national and provincial yacht racing champion. And he's also represented South Africa in 3 world championships. Good on you, Jerry. He was a long-distance walker. He is a dinghy champion, and he is also a 4x4 adventurer. And he also loves liqueur making and home brewing. What a lot of interests. And he has also planned very conscientiously for his retirement and is a great believer in lifelong learning, which is music to our ears. And I found him to be incredibly inspiring and energizing and full of sage advice. And I'm sure you will too. So right now, I'm going to let him tell us his story. And a very big welcome to you, Jerry, Dr. Gerard Norris from Nerdhook. So Jerry, good morning. Tell us a little
Morning,
bit about
Marilyn,
yourself.
and morning, viewers.
Thank you. Jerry, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and who is Dr. Gerard Norris?
Yes, I consider myself a very local guy, a Cape Townian, born in Fishhook, grew up in the Cape Peninsula, did my schooling there, and started my tertiary studies in the Cape area. And then after that, as life went on and my work progressed, I ended up being transferred internationally and ended up during the course of my life working on 4 continents and also doing studies on those continents as I progressed.
Gosh, Jerry, you have a plethora of interests and fascinating retirement pastimes. Can you tell us a little about those sporting activities and pastimes and adventures that you and your wife have continued into retirement?
Yes, fortunately, the pastimes and sports that we engaged in during our youth are multi-generational ones which can continue over a lifetime, such as sailing. In the sailing world, one makes friends in one's youth, and we all grow up together as we journey through life. The sport continues, and we just change our various types of sub-interests in the sport. Now, from having sailed ocean-going yachts and raced dinghies a lot, I'm now sailing radio control yachts, which is something that is very ideal for seniors. One keeps the same friends over a lifetime, and that's one of the benefits. So that's a nice ladder into retirement. In terms of the other adventures, land-based adventures, we love exploring our country and, of course, the world. But during COVID, we really focused on South Africa and discovered what a fantastic country we have. And we are now regulars on the road and off-road in Southern Africa and Botswana and Namibia, but particularly in the Northwest Cape. We love that, and the Kalahari, Namib Desert, and the Kalahari.
So, Jerry, let's go back to that time when you first started thinking seriously about retirement, and that time when you possibly had an aha moment that morphed into your decision to actually retire.
Yes, you know, I've planned for retirement my whole working life, and it's something my parents encouraged me to do. and I listened to that advice. So I started at a very early age, albeit in a modest way. I started in my 20s investing for retirement via a pension type fund. And that continued through my life. And when retirement came upon me, and it was not a planned retirement as such, it kind of arrived, I was prepared for it because there had always been a plan, a strategy in place. So it was not in my case, it was not a huge event. It was just a natural progression into the next phase of life.
Jerry, before you took that leap into early retirement, did you have any concerns about retirement? And in retrospect, were those possible concerns or worries justified?
Retirement was something that was always in the back of my mind, but I had been planning for it. Every month that certain amount of money earned went into retirement plan, and I had other backup retirement instruments going at the time, like retirement annuities, so to speak, and other saving schemes. Not huge amounts, modest amounts, but I think in my case, it was consistency and over the long haul that seemed to work in my favor. No, I never had any major concerns. I never thought that retirement would come up as quickly as it did, but it didn't catch me unprepared. I was semi-prepared for it.
Jerry, you told me that you're officially classified as disabled. I'm really, really sorry to hear that you lost your leg in the COVID pandemic. But how did you mentally and physically manage this catastrophic medical challenge?
Yes, that was certainly a very big, unplanned and catastrophic event that happened during the epidemic as a complication of the whole situation. And wow, that does steal up on one very suddenly, and one's got to apply one's mind to it. Well, the choices facing one are few. So I just decided to be very positive about it and not let it get me down and not let it get me depressed at all. What I did was I migrated to a wheelchair first, and eventually I actually accepted in goodwill the fact that I was going to be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of my life. I didn't let it bother me too much. I just got on with living. And then, of course, something happened and it just deteriorated. The leg deteriorated to the point it was amputated. And that was because of unbelievable pain that one could not live with. And so the leg was amputated, and we've just got on with life. And just one day at a time, learning to walk again. It's not a big deal in my case. I'm very positive. I'm mastering it. You've got only two choices, to succumb or go on and be happy. So I live in gratitude, complete gratitude. I got rid of that unbelievable nerve pain of a year and more. And now I'm just great. I'm just moving on.
Jerry, if you don't mind me asking, how did you financially manage this medical emergency? Did you possibly have something in place that ensured that unexpected medical expenses were taken care of?
Yes, the costs of medical intervention nowadays worldwide and also in South Africa, they're really prohibitive. They're huge sums of money. And fortunately, I did have health insurance in place, medical aid, so to speak, so that when the big event happened, I had some cover. But bearing in mind that expenses on the medical side have become so high that no normal medical plan covers the entire costs. Fortunately, I had what they call gap cover. It wasn't an easy journey because there was some pushback from the insurance companies, but together with my medical team, we overcame that. We got them to see reason, and eventually they did pay for the very high costs of these interventions.
Jerry, my understanding is that you conscientiously prepared well for retirement. How did you go about that? Did you have a financial plan? Did you possibly consult with a financial advisor or broker? How did you prepare well? What can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Up until the age of about 40, and I had a fairly continuous, unbroken career up until that point, I was on my own, just investing simply without expert knowledge, my own knowledge and instinct, through a company pension scheme and some savings and retirement annuities. But then, come that age, I did enlist the services of a financial advisor. They come under different names, brokers, wealth managers, all those kinds of names, but financial advisors. And I sought the advice of one, and it was a wonderful life experience to realize that there's that kind of resource out there that can really steer one into a safe and secure retirement.
Jerry, what kind of advice would you give to others who are currently planning their retirement?
Retirement is obviously the next and final phase of most of our lives. It can be a long one, and one has to have a vast amount of resources at one's disposal nowadays to retire properly. Well, I started early, as I said. I kept going, and then with the advice and help of retirement planners, financial advisors, we were able to move forward, taking what I had, and then doing the best with what I had. And that's where their expertise and their backup team, they have vast backup teams of experts. That's where that comes in very handy. And I'm very grateful that I enlisted the services of a financial advisor. I wouldn't be in the same position today if I hadn't.
That's great advice, Jerry. I think that for others who are currently planning their retirements as well. And what would you say is possibly the biggest financial challenge that you've faced to date?
I lived all over the world, and the challenges were unusual in the sense that things like exchange rates played a big role. Government issues in the sense of red tape, moving money around, never easy. It's become even more challenging nowadays. But nothing catastrophic on the financial side because I had a strategy. The instruments were in place already, and it was just a matter of keeping going and from time to time making adjustments, not to the strategy, but let's call it to the tactics of the investment strategy. So it actually went fairly smoothly with the odd hiccup, as I mentioned, exchange rates and the like.
Let's change tack a little bit here. Tell us about your international house sitting experiences. And I really would like to know, where was your best experience? What was most fun?
Yes, that was a big breakthrough in life when we discovered this opportunity that out there's such huge, let's call them opportunities for travel and for living in different countries at a very marginal cost. Because the concept of house sitting internationally is that people really need trusted and reliable people to look after their homes and their pets when they travel. And many people in the world travel extensively. So this is an organization that one can find through the web where one can enroll as a professional house sitter, let's call it that. And you go through an accreditation process. Obviously, one has to be found to be a wholesome human and reliable citizen first. And then these opportunities arise, many opportunities. You can actually house sit in almost any country of the free world if you go about it the right way. And it mainly involves taking care of their property while they're away, and most importantly, looking after a pet or three. And we've looked after lots of different pets in beautiful, beautiful homes. And in particular, this one, and I talk about Thailand, where we had this most exciting and two, in fact, house sits there over 2 years. We looked after their cherished Siberian cat for several months. And that gave us the opportunity to learn about Thailand, to live local. The home was a beautiful mansion set in a coconut plantation. And that's an example of the excitement that one can enjoy through international house sitting.
That sounds absolutely marvelous, and something I think that I need to put on my bucket list, and I'll have to get the name of that organization from you later on. But you're also involved in another something else that is really close to my heart, and it's the topic of seniors home sharing. And I know that you are very involved in that, and that you've actually chosen to help two elderly people who now live on your property. And I'd really like to know why you decided to go down that road, and how does this kind of living work on a practical basis?
Yes, we'd heard about the concept of senior sharing, not necessarily at the time using that term, but that term has emerged now quite popularly. And really, we found ourselves in a situation, Judy and I, we found that we were living in an empty nest, so to speak. We had a large family home with plenty of space, and it just lent itself to sharing it with others. So we went the route of not opening it up as a commune, as in student days, and sharing everything. But no, we had the space and the layout to allow two seniors to actually use that space. So they were people, very nice people, in some kind of need, and it just worked out. We invited them in. Obviously, we've got to select very, very carefully. We're all compatible. We don't get in each other's ways. We use the same building, yes, same roof, but the general property is open to everybody. So it's a bit of a little community we've created here, which is very nice.
I think that's absolutely so commendable. I think can you imagine that kind of living times hundreds, thousands in this country? It would really go a long way to solving that problem of accommodation for pensioners who are battling on the meager pensions that they get. And it's something we also need to explore as a topic on You've Earned It. But I'd like to know from you, if you look back on your life, would you have done anything differently?
That's a tough call. I think I've alluded to the fact that I live in gratitude. I believe that my life everyone's lives have hiccups. I've had my share, but generally speaking, I've been very fortunate. I do live in gratitude that it's gone so well. And it went according to plan, as best as one can plan. One's got to take risks. My dad referred to me as an adventurer. I took the risks of moving to 4 continents and working there, but I would never change that. It was the most fantastic gift, let's call it, that life gave me. And I'm so thankful.
Gosh, Jerry, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today, and I really thank you for your time. And you've really led the most fascinating of lives, and I love the fact that you are helping seniors on the accommodation phase, and I know you do other things as well as a volunteer. And the fact that you've overcome your medical challenge in such a positive way. And I really appreciate your telling us your story and sharing all of that with us. And we wish you the absolute best of luck going forward, and look forward to chatting to you again at some stage. So thank you very much, Jerry, Dr. Gerard Norris. We thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Marilyn, and hosts. Thank you very much.